Hi, my name is Allie Edwards, and I love words. I love words. I love stories. I love combining words and photos together to tell the stories of my life. And one of the projects that I have participated in for years and years now is the idea of choosing a word of the year. I started doing this back in 2006, and then in 2011 I started an annual workshop called One Little Word, and I've been doing that consistently since that time. In 2020, we changed things up a little bit, and I now have a team, a wonderful team of people working with me as we adventure through the year with our own individual words. What I want to share with you today is a conversation that the team and I had about our words for 2024, thinking a little bit about speaking a little bit about how we choose our words, or what we are looking at, for 2024 with these words that we are picking. This will give you a little bit of a peek into the types of conversations that we have in the year-long workshop that's hosted on my website, which is allieedwards.com. In the workshop, we have a monthly prompt, creative prompt each month that will be something either related to journaling or photography, or maybe a little mixed media. Each of the prompts that we do, one per month, is simply an invitation to invite you to reconnect with your word, to look at where you're at, what you've done, what you haven't done, how you are feeling. It's an opportunity to stay connected to the word that you might pick in the beginning of the year. I have videos here on YouTube, if you are watching this on YouTube, of my past projects that I've completed. Lots of people experience this workshop in different ways. You can simply journal if you want to. You can create a notebook or do a binder album, which is what I do, and it's divided into the months. And after doing this for so many years now, I have gathered such wonderful evidence of my existence through the very, very challenging times and through some of the biggest highlights of my life as well. This is really what I do for personal storytelling, for personal documentation, where I am reflecting on what's real in my life and what's really happening in my life, and using a word as a lens to guide me throughout the year. So for 2024, I'm choosing the word wild, which is an interesting choice, and you can hear me talk a little bit about that here coming up in the video. But I wanted to extend this invitation to you, if you're watching this in the beginning of the year, to join us in our year-long One Little Word workshop. Each month has a single creative prompt that invites you to either write or photograph or do some collage or something creative. We also have monthly community Zoom calls where everyone is invited to come on together, and we have a live conversation that reflects on the prompt, gives people an opportunity to share. Then our team members also share at mid-month. So we have content delivered on the 1st of the month, and then also on the 15th of the month, where our team members share how they tackled the prompt and give a little bit of the actual visual representation as to how they have made it visible in their own lives over the course of the previous month. It is a labor of love. It has become an essential project for me. I can't imagine not having a word, not taking a little bit of time to invest in myself over the course of the year, and it's really truly been an amazing experience for me. This year we are really inviting you to come be imperfect with us, because that is what we are. This is not a project with a really specific prescription. We have prompts that are invitations that invite you to do things. You can choose whether you want to do them or not. Like I said, lots of people experience this workshop in different ways. But really what we do is come together and have a space for conversation related to the things that are happening in our life, and related to how the words are working in our lives. And we are a collection of imperfect people that have come to understand that perfection isn't real, and perfection isn't something that we are striving for. We are really, really just trying to get to the core of who we are in our own lives, and uncover the layers, and get to the core, get to the heart of it for each one of us, which is going to look different for each one of us. So that's a lot about what we talk about in the project. We invite you to come practice with us. Practice being true to yourself, practice living your most authentic self, because that's what it is. It's probably always going to be a practice. So come be imperfect with us. All right, let's dive into our 2024 conversation about choosing our words. Hi, everybody. My name is Allie Edwards, and I am here today with our One Little Word team to do a little sharing of what our words are for this year, which we are talking about 2024. Our team had just had a little conversation about how many years have we been doing this together now. We're going into our 4th year with the wonderful people that we have here on this call. We've had a few other people joining us in the past, and this is our crew now. This is our crew, our 2024 crew, and I'm so happy to be back here with these beautiful people who show up and share their lives and talk about their own seasons of life and their own journeys and adventures with their individual words. If you've never heard about One Little Word before, the concept is pretty simple. You just simply pick a word to live with for the year. It's a manufactured timeline that we made up on the calendar year, and we all pick new words at the beginning of the year, and then we do creative prompts with them over the course of a 12-month workshop, which is, you guys are, if you're watching this, you're probably in the workshop. Okay, let's go ahead. What we want to do today in this particular video is simply just introduce ourselves and then share with you what our words are for this year. And you will see all of our faces throughout the year at various times. So like I said at the beginning, my name is Allie Edwards. I started having a word, or picking a word, I think back in 2006. So I've had a lot of words now. And in 2011, I started doing an actual workshop. So for me, what that did is it solidified my commitment to doing a project related to the word, and inviting other people to come along with me. So I have many years of projects with different words that have taught me so much about myself and so much about the world, and have allowed me to connect with this really beautiful community of people. And you can see all my past words if you look on my website there, my blog. So for this year, for 2024, I have picked the word wild, which people, yes, there's strong reactions to this word, which may be the strongest reactions that I've ever had to a particular word. And I've been thinking about it so much this week as I have started working on the prompt for January, and, thinking about the different reasons why I'm picking this word. And I think that I'm picking this word more than this word is picking me. Which sometimes people have the experience where a word just pops up for them and they can't let it go. In my case, this time, as I've considered a variety of different words, this is just the one that it's knocking, right? It's knocking on the door, but I'm also like, yes, you sound very interesting. And I think I'm going to actively decide that we will have an adventure together, and we'll see what happens. I think for me, it's really kind of rooted in the wilderness, right? Like being outside, being outdoors, wanting freedom in a different way. I think freedom's another word I need to write down on my little thing that I've got a little mind map going that I'm just starting. I'm also really wanting to invite myself to make different choices, like to be, as I'm faced with anything from the kind of coffee I want to drink today to, bigger life decisions, like giving myself the chance to make different choices. And I don't even know what that actually means yet, but that's something that I want to keep close this year. And for me, in many cases, it would be wild to make a different choice, right? Wild to walk a different path, wild to pick a different color. I mean, it can be anything, it can be really simple, but it can also be really big. So I'm going to be asking what if questions related to that. We talked last year in one of our videos about the concept of what if, and, what if, just related to our words and being curious and what happens if we ask that question. So I think that's something that I'm really going to be holding close this year is just what if, what if, what if, what if. I'm also, the other thing I wrote down was, one of the things I like about wild is I'm connecting it to just like the four elements, right? Of earth, air, fire, and water. So that's another way that I am giving myself a little bit of a path. And I don't know exactly what that means, but there's something in that. So I'm writing it down. And that's a lot of what we do here is just invite each other to write it down. So that's a little bit about me. You guys have any questions for me? You guys good? Anything? Liz does. Okay, go, Liz.
Well, I think of the word that came to mind as you were talking is like unpredictable.
Yes.
What would be unpredictable? Like the word, the communities, like we are responding to your words. We know you, so it's not totally unpredictable to us that you use wild, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a different kind of word. But that, I wonder what that word unpredictable.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think, what's interesting about this particular word is there is a whole other like chaotic,
sure,
unplanned, all of these. I was just looking at the dictionary stuff this morning, and I think part of what I'm doing in my head is how do I welcome that in a positive way, right? How can I am somebody who is so black, I'm working on gray. I've always been working on living in the gray rather than black and white. But how do I navigate that better, maybe? The unplanned, the unpredicted, what is my response to that? I don't know. Now I'm just talking off the cuff, but yes. This is why I love having a word, right? Because it gives me something, it gives me a different way to think about my life, it gives me a different way of looking at my life. So last year, my word was joy. So I spent a lot of time thinking about what was joy and where does joy come from for me and noticing joy. So this year I want to notice wild and ask more questions about that. Yes. Okay. Lou, I'm going to you now. Okay. And then we'll go to Felicitas.
So my word for 2024 is going to be vibe. That's V-I-B-E. Vibe. Everything.
Can you spell it every time you say it? Will you do that? Because I really like that part.
Yes, I will. And what's funny about vibe is probably one of the shortest words I've ever selected, ever. So I love that it's 4 letters. I love the way it looks. I wrote it down. And as you were talking, I picked my anchor words or my supporting words for it. And those words are going to be flourish, soul, and I sat with this other one, which is maximum. And so for me, everything is about going bigger, but it's what's bigger defined for me. What does bigger mean for me, not what bigger means for other people. I thought that ease was going to be my word. EASE. I thought that was going to be my word because I felt like opulence was so intense, and iconic was the word before that. I picked these words as of late that are they're intense words, or they feel bigger than me, and that I have to meet them. I have to do something to get there. And over the past 3 days, I have been doing nothing but coveting my couch and resting and napping and having no guilt over it. And vibe is so chill right now. It is the most chill word. It's like, oh, if that ain't a vibe, we can't get down with it. It's really just that simple. So everything is going to filter through this word. If it's giving off the wrong vibe, that's going to stop me from flourishing. doesn't fill my soul, doesn't make me feel like the maximum aspect of who I am, then it can't be and can't go with me. And so I'm kind of sitting in that space of what is and isn't a vibe, who is and isn't a vibe right now. And it feels really good to sit there and just be like, is that a yeah or is that a nah? Nah. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of nahs, but I've been saying a lot of yes to certain things with myself. I started listening to Shonda Rhimes' book, The Year of Yes, because I wanted to just hear how she processed through that again. And I said, I just want to kind of sit with somebody who had one hell of a year when she said yes, because her sister told her while they were fixing dinner, you never say yes to anything. You always say no or something like that. And it stuck with her and it bothered her, but it bothered her enough to say, well, what happens if, so she got to like the maybe, and then, okay, the yes, and then being terrified because she's an introvert and being terrified and doing all these yes things. So vibe has got me thinking about what is a vibe? What is a vibe for you? How do you create your own vibe? What does that feel like? So for me, it's going to be a lot of touching base with my soul. Does it feel like I'm flourishing? Am I maximizing for me? And kind of going from there. So yeah, vibe is going to be my word. I'm really excited about it too. Only from it just feels like it felt easy, and vibe was on my list of words. I collect words throughout the year, but I thought ease was going to be the word. And I was talking to Liz and Allie, as a matter of fact, and ease spoke so clearly, I'm not your word. And what the hell you mean you're not my word? And it was like, I'm not your word, but I needed you to ease up so that I could show you what your word is supposed to be. And then vibe literally just stepped in like, hey girl, what's up? We gonna get down in 2024. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, okay. I eagerly said yes to vibe. So that's my word. And I have no idea where it's gonna lead me. I'm really going into 2024 with curiosity and being open to what does it reveal and how have the previous words led me up to where I am. And I know you said to do an intro and I forgot. I'm Lucretia Braxton.
I did say that. That's okay.
You
Good,
did.
good,
You
good,
did.
good.
And
Yes,
look at me
yes.
just completely breaking
That's okay.
everything.
I didn't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, I just want to hear what your word is. Yes.
And I've been picking a word, I think as long as Allie has, like 2006, just for a long time. I don't remember what all my words are. They're written in a journal somewhere. And I try to keep track of them in that way. But I have enjoyed this process because it allows me to be selfishly focused on me. And that is what I love the most about this project, is that I'm selfishly focused on me. And while we do it in community, I'm selfishly focused on what's working for me. Yeah. And growing through this, moving into the 4th year of us doing this as a collective, I've learned so much from all of you as we have done this project about myself and not people pleasing. I really don't care what people think about me, because I care more about how do I think about me and how do I feel, and being able to stand in that and say, oh yeah, that feels good. So I think that vibe is the right word for me. And I'm really curious to see where is it going to take me in 2024. I'm really curious about it.
I think that's such a cool word. Like this, you almost always, I think every single year, pick a word that I haven't even thought of. Like that's not even in my, in my range of things. And this one, what I love about this one for you is that it can be so many disparate things, right? It can be ease and it can be maximum, right? It can be both because it depends on what's needed in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Or what's needed in the season. Yeah, that's going to be really cool. I'm excited to hear how that goes.
I am too. I'm excited to see what wild does to you.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but
we're about to get Goth Alley.
Yeah. Well, yeah, who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I just want to go outside. See, I got my Northwest sweatshirt on.
Oh, look at you. You're already in the mood.
I'm just gonna go live in the woods. And
You and Betty.
that's the wild alley. It's gonna be wild
Betty's
hair,
coming up.
wild. And that's one of the things I think that's funny about like words, they make us feel different ways, right? Like just even the word wild, like makes me think about being at the beach or in the woods and like messy hair and free. Again, freedom, right? Freedom from
Yes.
everything. Okay, that's going to be a current undercurrent.
Theme.
Yes, it's going to be a theme. Freedom from what? I'm not really sure. Okay. All right, let's go to Felicitas. Introduce yourself to us.
I will. Hi, I'm Felicitas. I'm from Germany, representing Europe here. And my word, I'm a memory keeper and mixed media artist, or at least I was the last decade. I'm trying to figure out who I am this year. So I think that's the thing I'm working on. And my word for this year is yes. Because, and I'm coming back to Lou, and also to you, Ellie. Well, firstly, I didn't want to have a word that built on my last ones because I felt the last 3 years we did that. It was an actual journey for me with thinking about, is my creative self-employment the right thing? Is working from home the right thing? You want to go out into the world, you want to live life like a regular person. And so my last words with be open and light, this was a journey, and I feel like it's not complete, but it's some kind, it's on a way that would pass here or at least ready for a new chapter in something different. I didn't want to have something that built up on that. So, and I know I wanted to have something challenging this year, something that would be a little bit harder in terms of to work with, and that this word is scary for me for different reasons. So I auditioned a few words. I think I spoke about that in the last Zoom we did in December. And I was about to choose dance because I felt like dancing like no one's watching, in terms of just be me and be okay with who I am. And but also dancing through the rain, having hard times and feeling okay with it. It will pass and all that stuff. And I also had story and learn. And as always, I couldn't decide. I overthought it. And I know it's not about picking the perfect word. It's about picking any word. And as you said, Ellie, sometimes the word comes to you, sometimes you choose the word. So, but I was struggling with that. I was struggling to make that decision. And that's not always, but often the case, just to get to that decision and to commit to that. Yeah, I think yes is a powerful word to me because it is a commitment, it is binding, and it will push me to make these decisions. And like I want to learn pottery for a very long time, and I ask my potter in town, and she has classes and they're always booked. So I'm the one who said, well, okay, then maybe next time. I never thought about going out of my town and ask other people who have pottery classes. I just let it be, and that's okay for me. And I don't want to be that person anymore. I just want, if you want to learn pottery, then do it. There are a million ways to do it. So go out there and just do it. Say yes to that interest and just find a way to do it. And I think that's something I want to have in my life this year. So yeah.
I love it. I love how you talked about that the last 3 years for you almost feel like one chapter, right? When you're reflecting back on it. So you
Yeah.
can see, you're seeing that in your own life, and you're already saying yes, right? You're already saying yes by saying new chapter, new word, a challenge for yourself.
Yeah.
I love it.
And also because what Lou said with being an introvert, and the word yes is scary to me because it means a lot of action, a lot of talking, probably a lot of new things. But yeah, I said I wanted to have something challenging, and that I think, yeah, I don't know how this will turn out. I don't know if I will
Yeah.
be choosing another word soon, or if I can commit to it, I will. I want to, because yeah, that's what
I
it's
think it's
about. Yeah.
interesting too, because there is a little bit, I mean, as we embark on this, there is a little bit of faith that goes into it, right?
Yeah.
Faith that we're going to learn something, right? We're going to learn something about ourselves through
One
the
way or
process.
another. Yeah.
One way or another, we're going to learn something. If we're open and if we're paying attention at all, we're going to learn something about ourselves. And it's not necessarily this end result. One thing we could also share too is, are you doing the binder this year? Have you decided how you want to do some documentation? Do you know what you're going to do?
Yeah, I think I want to do the binder with the pockets. Yeah.
How about
think,
you,
yeah.
Lou? Do you know what you're going to do?
I'm going to use the binder also.
Okay.
I think it will help me stick with not feeling like I have to do all these extra things. I think I'll be creative in some of the other stuff because it's less structured. So I'm really curious to see like, how do I make art in a different way, but the binder for documenting each of the monthly challenges.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to use the binder too. I've always used the binder. And so that's where like the main prompts will go in, but I'm going to use, this is what I just decided today. So this is the one that's inside of the folio. And I just want to have one that's just notes, right? Notes, or I can just stick things in there like that, looser, again, more free, more wild. I can stick things like this one I got from you, Liz, the and space postcard. Rooted. Yes. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Thanks, Felicitas. Yeah.
I want to mention something to Felicitas that feels
Yeah,
important.
good. Bring it in.
You said this idea of pushing past okay. That's what I interpreted what you were saying. And I started to see a continuum because I did the word yes several years ago, and it helps with saying no, right? It does help you say no also. And but I love that image. I'd never thought of it this way, of pushing past okay, because we settle for okay so often. And sometimes that's good. I mean, when I say it's been an okay day, that actually is a good thing, in a lot of ways. But your pottery example is so great that it would be like, okay, it's full. Okay. But you want to push past okay. That feels powerful, but still gentle, but powerful. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I love that phrase. I wrote that down. That's
yeah.
better than anything I could come up with.
Well, it's basically what you said. I just put it in Liz speak,
Just reflected back.
Yes, that's right. That's what you said.
I love that.
I just had a comment for Lou. Lou, I think vibe, listening to you speak reminded me so much of authentic whenever I chose authentic. And I think it will be true to you as well, that you will learn so much about yourself and it'll spill over to every aspect of your life. Like before you cook something for dinner, you're gonna be like, is that a vibe? Before you choose your clothes, is that a vibe? Before you interact with anyone, and it not just this project, but you will find it will touch every aspect of your life. And I'm so excited to see how that works out for you.
I receive all of that. I receive that. Yes. That's what it feels like. Thank you for those words. I receive that. That is, yes. I'm letting that just completely wash over me. That's wonderful.
I think it's also a really awesome way to reject things too. Like, no, not a vibe. And there's no explanation needed, because then it's just a one-word explanation and you walk off. Not a vibe.
Explanations. The explanations are exhausting.
And sitting comfortably in no.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited to see how yes works for you, Felicitas, because it is very black and white. It's yes or it's no.
Yeah.
There ain't no maybe. So it's like it is yes. I feel like we're gonna be walking some parallel
Mm.
experiences, because vibe, everything is going to filter. Is it a vibe? That's a yes or a no.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There is no maybe, because it's right now it's does that align with where I
Yeah.
want to be? Oh, I'm so excited for us.
Mm.
Hey, Felicitas, you have a fellow introvert here in my home, my spouse, who overheard you say possibly talking to people, and she goes, "Ooh, gross." So you support.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes. Yes. Victoria, you want to go?
Sure, sure. So I'm Victoria Calvin, and my word for 2024 is going to be adventure. And I feel a lot like Felicitas and I both kind of had a similar experience, I think, over the past couple of years or so, where where our lives have changed. And I think coming on the end of that, now I'm over the hill in terms of the pinnacle of all that change and transition, is I feel like I've stepped out into this open pasture, and there's just all these possibilities now of things to do and things to reclaim and things to revisit and whatnot. And I thought, I want to just have some fun. I'm going to spout out a whole bunch of words that I think will accompany a venture. I want to have a lot of fun. I'm very curious. I'm excited. I think there's going to be a lot of room to be even more sillier than what I already am, because I'm pretty off the chain. I, I think there's going to be room for newness, like doing new stuff. There's going to be connecting back to stuff that I've missed over the past few years, and just, I don't know, I'm just open to whatever comes in 2024. Some things that I think about in terms of what Adventure and I will be doing. A lot more travel in 2024, which is going to be great. A lot of different experiences. So I have a teenager who's really into anime, and we went to her first anime convention a few weeks ago. And this is a parent who knows dilly squat about anime, but I was so fascinated by it. And she goes, "Mom, do you think you want to like cosplay a character next time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what character should I cosplay?" So she has me cosplaying some like little companion character to the character that she's cosplaying. So I
That's
might
awesome.
purple animal type. I don't know, but I'm going to do it because she loves it. So hell, let's do it. Let's get on it. In the anime, let's do this. And I love everything themed. I'm a sucker for anything. If I have to dress up, if it's themed, I'm there. But so I'm going to be dressed up as some little companion character for her. I have no clue. But it's an adventure, so I'm going to do it. Just throw caution to the wind. I'm also going on adventures for other things too, like my health and fitness and my creative activities. My job, my new job is an adventure. I learned that I will be moving into a director position in the spring. And so it's going to be an adventure learning new things, and adventure getting over any level of panic or stress that I feel about that, because it came quicker than what I actually thought. And telling myself, you're ready for this next step professionally, right? You're ready to do the things. So just really opening myself up to what's to come in 2024. I spent the past year, my word was slow this year, and I love that word so much. Slow has been my best friend for the past 12 months, and I absolutely love slow. But slow's like, you know what? Now we've slowed down a little bit. It's time to pick it up a little bit. Let's hey, let me introduce you to this other word. This is adventure. And adventure came in like, what's up? Let's go.
Okay, that was amazing. Yeah.
Let's go. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that in 2024. So I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna use the binder. I'm like, true to form binder person, but I am gonna use the other pieces. Like, there's a journal that's available, so I'm going to use that. When the journal that I did purchase gets filled up, I'm going to use that. And then I probably use the folio or something like that for notes and things. But I am going to use the binder more in a scrapbooking type way, taking lots of pictures and embellishing and that type of thing, to kind of get a little creative with that as I explore my word, which I think will be really fun. So I'm excited about what that's going to look like with the word adventure. So I think that in this part of my transition, I'm at a point now where things are great. I'm calm. I've slowed down. I've made some changes, and now it's time to like have some fun and see, what's possible, and saying yes to a lot of things more so than I have in the past few years. And just this continuation of this journey of change and of growth and of letting go. And now it's just, time to do some fun stuff. Allie, I'm with you on getting out in nature, and in Texas, you got to kind of pick and choose because it gets hot as hell. I'm not trying
it's a
what it's
little
like.
different. Yes.
But where you're at, I would be out in nature all the time. Um, but getting outside and having adventures of meeting new people. I'm thinking about joining a embroidery guild
Hmm.
because why not? Having adventures and meeting new people, reconnecting with folks that I haven't talked to in a while, and having adventures with my friends. We're at different parts in our lives now, and but it'd be great to reconnect with them and have some adventures with my spouse, because we don't have as many adventures as we used to. And so that's going to be fun. In fact, we're going on an adventure this Saturday, so that's going to be cool. With my kid, just all these opportunities to have new adventures in various different ways. And it feels fun. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like it's, something I have to do. It's just, hey, let's start the new year off by doing some cool things. And let's spend the next 12 months doing some cool things and see
Yeah.
what comes.
Yeah. I love it. I have lots of things, or multiple things to think about. One related to you is I love seeing, especially for people that have been in this community for a long time, right? There's just an evolution of people, right? People are continually evolving, and they're making changes to their story, and they're choosing different things, and they're slowing down, and they're speeding up, and that different years invite, or different years can invite, or we can choose to have different sorts of experiences. And all of us here use our words as a lens to view our lives. And so for you, Victoria, this year, just using that lens of adventure opens up so many possibilities, right? Of different things. And if you run into negative, crappy things, you can be like, oh, that's just part of the adventure, right? It like gives you this opportunity to just see it in a different way too. And that's one of the things that I appreciate. I also, as you were talking, it made me think too about how some words are really wide and some words are more narrow, right? And so sometimes we have a word because we want to work on a very specific thing, or we want to invite a very specific thing, or focus on a very specific thing. And then other times we just have words that are wider and that can encompass lots of different pieces of our life. And I think that all of us have probably had, one of each of those kinds of words, and it's just a different experience. And one isn't better or worse. It's just a part of this process too. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I think adventure is wide open, like
totally wide, right?
Yeah.
So many different pieces that can fit into that. Well, it's going to be fun to see what kind of adventures, just how your own life evolves this year too, especially after, for you and Felicitas, you guys having, big work changes last year too. And whatever other ripple effects come from that too. And
absolutely. I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
Yeah. I love that vibe. It's a good vibe.
Good vibe.
Okay, Liz, let's go to you.
Okay, hi over there. I am Liz Lamoureux, and I think I've been choosing a word since at least 2008, maybe. For sure keeping track since around 2009, 2010. What I want to say after listening to everyone is, and we'll see if you feel this way about, since Azari hasn't talked yet, if this is true for you, Azari, too. It's like there's a foundation the last few years has set for the words that we're choosing this year. And I think it's partly because we have the luxury of being in conversation with each other so much about our words that it gives us kind of permission to really reflect on the previous years and what we really want. Also, we know we're going to be doing a project for 12 months, right? We know we're committed to the 12 months. And so we want it to be something that we want to do long term. And I love that. Similarly to what some of you have said, the previous 3 years for me have been kind of leading, maybe even 4, to the word that I'm choosing for next year, or for 2024, which is thrive. I have I'm moving past love-hate relationship with the word thrive, and
I'm still like, go
I like
Liz.
the word.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's like a word you like hold out over here. And what I love, it happened before, a couple years ago, when we decided I was going to do a prompt around the idea of having a conversation with your word. Lou and I talked. I wanted to talk out the prompt with her, and then we took what we talked about and recorded it. Then, so we had two conversations kind of on the same thing. And that's what came out of that conversation that stuck with me so much, is when Lou said, your word already is what it is. And what we were doing in that, what we recorded, we were talking about, or I guess actually in the one we didn't record, we were talking about, will this word work with this prompt? I wanted to make sure that the questions I'd chosen would work with just about any word. And so we chose words that we both like. And then we chose a word, like I said, let's use thrive. I don't like that word. And then as we were talking, Lou looked up the definition. And when you read it, I said, or one of us said, thrive is just a plant. And it changed my whole perspective on this freaking word. Like, it was like, oh, a plant is just thriving there in the window or in the desert or wherever it is, right? It has its things it needs. And so I almost chose it last year. Yeah. I almost chose it last year, but I chose grace instead because 2023 needed grace, and that was the right word. And that word could feel open. It felt open in the sense of if openness feels light, but it was a path. I was trying to learn and sit with what grace feels like, accepting it, giving it, believing it exists, even if I can't see it, letting it be what it is, all those things. So it did feel like a pathway versus like you open your front door and you have 6 ways you can go. Like adventure, you have 10 pathways. It's a choose your own adventure book. Grace didn't feel that way. So thrive feels more like there's more like a bigger word. But I've been coming back to the idea of, when you get a plant from a nursery, it comes with a little card stuck into the dirt, right? And it tells you, doesn't mean you always follow what it says, but it tells you what this plant for its kind of best life, what you need to do, where you put it in your house, the amount of sun, the amount of moisture in the air it needs, and all those things. And if you are someone who likes plants, or maybe during the pandemic, you started to have plants in your house or whatever, you've had success and not success probably with plants. And sometimes it's you, and sometimes it's because it comes infested with little bugs, or, we could go on and on with this metaphor, but I've been looking at it like, what if I'm not a plant, but the greenhouse, right? Versus, because if the plant dies, I don't want to throw me out. We're not throwing me out if the plant dies. And I don't want to get too bogged down in that metaphor that if I don't do it perfectly with it, because the perfection with me and this project, I have to continually reject perfection, or I'm not interested in doing this project. From every angle, from these conversations to what word I choose to how I document it and all of that stuff. But I've been thinking about what's the little card for me that I need? How much light do I need? How much water? How much humidity? But also in the different roles I play, in the different times of year, in the different, all of that, right? I love me a good metaphor. And so I'm going to use the binder for our projects, our monthly projects. I switched to that halfway through in 2023, and that was so good for my brain to just be like, I like the idea of finishing, and I'm a process person. So I was telling my daughter this week, I like the beginning, I like the finish when it's done. This part can get real fuzzy for me,
That's a metaphor in and of itself.
And so after doing this project for however many years with all of you, and then just on my own or whatever, I think the binder helps me do the individual months in a way that I like. And it gives me the freedom to use the pockets if I want, or I like to just collage something and put holes in it and put it in. I can do whatever I want. But I think I'm going to use that new hardback journal. Yeah. That, for keeping track of this idea of what is the greenhouse, what does Thrive need? What does Liz need to thrive in these roles and all of that? Whether it's, through quotes I find and all of that, but I'm imagining that as just a dumping ground And then I might pull from that for what I put in the binder to kind of, look at. But I'm excited to think about it as the greenhouse and how when we turn it into compost, I mean, I'm going to beat the metaphor to death in this conversation, but we turn it into compost. And like, that's what we do with the plants in my house when
Yeah.
I didn't water the succulent, because you're not supposed to water succulents, but you got to water them at some point.
And compost is magic.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Felicitas had to
We'll
take
see.
off because she has a commitment that she has to do. So yeah.
We will see thrive is a word. It's hard. It's a harsh word to me because of I guess love doesn't sound harsh, but thrive is a very,
It's just in the mouth. It's in the mouth. It's in the mouth. It just feels weird in the mouth.
Vibe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Vibe.
And so,
Get
and
that
I,
vibe. That's
yeah,
sexy and
it's
it
good.
lives.
And so that's what I have to get into it is, all right, what does thriving feel like? I'm all of that. And that thriving can look like a nap.
Yep.
Thriving is not striving. Thriving is not number one in the class necessarily, all those things that we can. And yeah, Allie is feeling that.
I'm like, yep.
Liz,
Yep.
I totally see you have to do one of those little
I will.
tags
I
of
will.
what you need to thrive. And
Yeah.
I would love to see what you describe in January versus what you describe
Yes.
at the end of the year.
That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Finishing a year with the word, you're like, this is what I thought I needed to thrive. But
Yes.
no,
Yes.
thrive really look like you need a nap. You need to be alone.
Right.
I
Well,
love
That
that.
might look like
I love
adventure.
that.
Like I kind of want Thrive to look like a nap because of my gentle words I've chosen, but really Thrive looks like being brave enough to go to join a new club or, do something different. Yeah. It's good.
Liz,
I love
I
it.
love how you said that you talked about being the greenhouse. And when you said it, I wrote down, what if you are the container for your word? Can you hold
Yes.
space for the word and for you? It's a greenhouse. Again, a greenhouse is what it is. Its whole sole purpose is to protect and cover what's inside to help it thrive. That's the whole purpose of it. And it doesn't try to do anything except be a container. That's what it is. And everything inside of a greenhouse tends to thrive. So no matter what's going on outside, everything is perfect inside of the greenhouse. The temperature is right. The humidity is right. The light is right. The space is, everything is right inside of the greenhouse. It's not trying, it just
Cool.
is.
Yeah, that's so helpful because, you guys know I've had this, the light's so nice, you can't really see it, but I had this melanoma taken off this month or in December. And I now have to do the every 3 months go in that's part of my thriving, which it is thriving, but it feels a little bit like a lot of things, obviously, right? To, to have that word melanoma in your life now and all those things. But that just the way you said it gave me the gift of shifting it to like, I have to take care of the container. I have to take care of the container. The container looks like really intimately knowing my dermatologist. That's part of taking care of it is someone's got to get the glass panes when they crack and all that stuff. But that's helpful. And maybe that'll help someone else too, who's got their own health stuff or whatever. So thanks, Lou. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
That whole, the word, another word that you've said over and over again, just in the last couple of minutes, is the word care, right?
Yeah.
Care, and the whole concept of like the care instructions. Like I wrote that down, like that could probably be a prompt. Like what is, what would you put on your care tag, right? What do you need to thrive essentially?
Yeah.
What would be on your,
it's like the care and keeping in it.
Yeah.
And also like a field journal, when you look at, I love to use those in my journaling where it's like about birds or animals, trees, and you get kind of this bird prefers.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
It
feels like that to me too, where it's almost like, it's that whole thing. I'm an introvert, extrovert. What does that look like?
Yeah.
And then you're bringing in all those other words like curiosity and even, that's the thing that I most hope people will take is how there's so much overlap in all of us and our words, even though our words are so different.
Yeah.
It's a way of just looking at your life.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's hear from Zari. Let's hear from Zari.
Yes. Yes.
Stop talking.
Good. No, I love it. I love it.
No, I think going right after you, Liz, is perfect because as I talk about how I chose my word, in a way, it's very much the care instructions, right?
Yeah.
Of what my word is. So my name is Azari Jarrett. This is my 4th year joining these lovely ladies. My previous words have been present, authentic, good. I was trying to run away from this word, but I wanted something similar. I spent all week kind of fighting it, but it's the only one that felt right, and it is create.
Mm.
Coming off of good last year was very good, but I almost felt too comfortable. And I needed just a little challenge. In our conversations towards the end of the year, when we talked about like a what if prompt, the common theme that came back for me was, what if you choose you? Choose you. What would happen if you just get out of your way and choose you? And for me, like part of my care instructions would be that I have to create. I have to create something with my hands. Normally it's with a camera, with paint. I'm not restricting myself to anything, but I need to create to feel like myself. I think we consume so much that I just want to just counteract that with something I can do. And I needed a verb. I know I need to do something. That's part of my care instructions. I feel like I have the physical part figured out because whenever I consider that choosing myself, spending time with myself. I just need to do that for my craft of, you need to choose you, Azari. What if you chose you? What would happen? So I'm excited about that. I'm excited for getting out of my own way and just creating. I have my oldest daughter is going to college next year. So I think that's another part of choosing your word. Like I know what's coming up. And so I need something to kind of counteract. I won't have control over that, but I do have control over what I do every day or what I create. So I don't know what that looks like. But I'm excited because it's a verb. It's something I'll do. And I usually my words come to me in quotes. And so I still need a quote to kind of anchor me. And so I went searching for it this year, and I think this is it. And it's from Mary Lou Cook, and it is creativity is inventing, experimenting, growing, taking risks, breaking rules, making mistakes, and having fun. And that's what I want for this year. I had some other words that I tried on, other verbs, explore, rise was a close second that I'm not sure if I'm ready to let go, but we'll see. Make and lead. And maybe these are words for next year. I'm not sure. Lead scared me. I was like, lead, where did you come from? But we'll see. We'll see. I am also using the binder. I am coming off of 3 years of the travelers or the
journal. Yeah.
The journal, which I love.
Notebook. Yeah.
Notebook. And part of that for me was twofold. I wanted to get away from page protectors, and I also wanted to carry it with me. I loved, just a side note, I love that aspect of taking all my favorite things and just sticking it in my bag. But now I'm convinced I can do the album outside of the page protectors. And if I still need the page protectors, I can do that. I don't feel as, I guess, I don't know.
Constrained.
Constrained.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted an open blank page.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just ready for something new. I think that is what keeps this fresh for me, is just making changes when I need to. But I will also use, probably like Liz, the hard journal, because I still feel like I need something to carry around. So we'll see how that manifests and what it looks like. But that's my word. That's my word. I'm excited. Also scared. Scared for this year. We'll see how I make it through. But
I think that that's just listening to you talk too, and sharing your story there. Like, this is you are a good example this time of you know that something is going to happen this year, right? And that's kind of like Liz. Like, Liz kind of
yeah,
knew that there was some stuff that
yeah,
was going to happen, right, Liz? Like, you knew going into this last year that you needed grace. You needed that. And so there are years where we know when that something is going to happen, right? Or there's some shift is going to happen in our lives, and there's lots of other times when we can't predict that either. But I think you probably approach it, you approach it in a little bit of a different way, thinking of that, right? And knowing that that's
yeah,
coming up, and that now is time to start thinking about, inviting some other things in. I think it's interesting too, because like, thinking about kids leaving, like Simon moved out, my son who's 21 moved out last year, and I knew that was going to happen, but it's now, we're almost a year later, and I feel like it's more starting to hit me now than it
really.
did. Yeah. So I'm saying that out loud just in case. I mean, there's the initial
Yeah,
like shock, right? Of shock is not the right word. There's just the initial change.
yeah,
But then it's like, for me anyway, there's been a tail. There's like a tail end of it, as you come to realize, oh, that chapter of my life actually, is closing, and now what is next? I don't know.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm hoping Create will give me something to, concentrate on and let
Yeah.
her and
Well, and
let her
it's all like creating yourself too, like
ride.
creating the
Exactly.
next chapter for yourself. And you still have other kids
Absolutely.
at home, and so do I, but it's still like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've, just started having those conversations of, I just feel like you always measure them, they're 6, 7, 8. And now it's a measure of, we have a year left. We have
Yeah.
6 months left.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite
Yes.
countdown.
Yes.
But what does that look like, of something that has kind of dominated your life for so much? And this is what we've prepared them to do, right?
Yeah.
Is to
Yeah.
is to exist without us.
Yes.
But it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yes. Well, and also they may come back.
Yes, that's another thing. Yeah,
They might be back.
That's what
They
I
never
hear. At
leave.
18, they don't
Yes.
fall off the
Lou's like,
face of
and
the
they
earth.
may never leave. Yep. 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 That's
Yeah.
an adventure right there. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm
100%.
excited. I'm excited to do something. I don't know. Maybe that's definitely part of my care instructions is doing and
Taking
moving.
action. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
when I was searching for a word, I was definitely looking for verbs. Which I don't think I've ever approached it that way of
Yeah. Yeah. That you really intentionally want to take action.
yes.
Yeah. I love it. I
And
love
there's
it.
some comes through action. Like, I've definitely had words that are more action oriented, particularly during years where I didn't feel like being introspective about everything. I just wanted to do it. And I need
Yes.
that, which is pretty, I'm comfortable in that because it's a part of my nature. I just do the thing, right? Just get it done,
Yeah.
just do the thing. And I think, Azari, this is coming at a great time for you, in that you are experiencing yet another life course transition with a kiddo that's getting ready to do her thing or whatnot. And I have so many people that I know in my orbit that have kids that have left, young adults that have left the home and have gone off to college, and they're like, well, what do I do with myself? You still have things to do. You still have life to live. You're still a whole person. And so as you're starting this point in your life course of having kids get older and move out, you still have all these other things to look forward to and to do. And so having a word where you can practice being in action, I think, is really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the things for all of us is, and I think that we all know this to be true, is that we don't have any answers, right?
Mhm.
We're not starting out with an answer or even with an expectation that we're going to have a specific answer, right?
Mhm.
We're setting forward with intentions, and we're going to use these words as a guide, right? As an opportunity to look at our lives in a different way. But none of us know what's going to happen. None of us know, what it, and it's possible too. I mean, there have been years where some of us have been like, this word just doesn't resonate with me anymore for whatever reason. And so everybody gets to choose their own adventure at that point, whether you stay with the word and who knows what will happen, or you choose a different word. Like, that is okay. I don't think we've had anybody on the team choose a different word midway through.
Mhm.
And I think part of that is because each one of us, like, we're practiced in picking a word that we are willing to have a year-long experience with, knowing also that there will be an end, and then we can pick a different word at the end. I wanted to go back to something that Liz said, which was just talking about the middle, right? She was talking about the being really good at the beginning, really good at the end, and then that middle space, which is for all of us, I think, the messy middle. For this project in particular, it's just when we're living life, right? Everybody is very excited at the beginning. I spend so much time thinking about it, like every day I'm like wild and looking quotes and writing stuff down and thinking about what is this word, how do I start this relationship with this word? And then we get into the middle of the year where it's like everybody's got regular life going on. Things have happened, things have not happened, whatever. And I think what I want to encourage everyone is to even work on showing up in the smallest way. And the smallest way might just be listening to the prompt, right? The smallest way might be writing some things down and sticking it on a sticky note and put it in your binder. Like, it's an opportunity we're giving you an opportunity to connect each month, but we all know that the middle is like, maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody out there loves the middle. Maybe there's somebody that loves the middle. Any of you guys love the middle part?
Well, I always say, I kind of love the middle because I feel
Okay,
like
good. I'm glad. So yes, speak up. Good.
I do. I like the middle because I feel there's a lot of shouting at the beginning and a lot of shouting at the end. And the people that are left in the middle, maybe it's my introvert self, we're just kind of quiet, introspective, and we're just like, hi, we're still here.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Yes.
And another thing I would say about this project is going into it knowing you will get sick, your kid will get sick, your partner will get sick, you won't feel like it, you won't like whatever the prompt is, you might do the prompt and not like what came out, but that's all part of it. I feel like is just, I guess the way I look at it is just showing up.
Yeah.
As long as I show up, and Lou, you said something, and it's just being selfish about this project. And if anything, I think that it's not striving for perfection, it's just showing up even when life is messy,
Yeah.
even when, you know,
Yes.
but
Well, and I think that's what we're talking about this year too, a little bit about the invitation to just show up imperfectly, which is
Mhm.
what I told you guys in the beginning when we started doing this. I was like, I just want you to come on. You don't have to take a shower. You don't have to do anything, right? You
That's
just
me.
need, yep, I know it's, you just need to show up and share. And so the
yeah,
same for the people in the community is just showing up and writing something down. Right. I mean, I just think I am such a huge believer in the documentation portion. And for me, who I love the beginning and I love the end because then I'm done and then I get to start over again because probably what I really love is beginnings. But for me, as somebody that has done it every year, and I can go back in those albums and look at even in the parts where I was like, okay, I showed up and I did something, all of that adds up. Right.
Mhm.
All of those pieces in the middle add up to the experience of my life, of, living with different words and looking back on all of the different seasons, and having a few things written down through the lens of a word has been invaluable, for me as a person. So
I think the year is also about managing expectations. Like,
yes.
Going back to what you said earlier about, we don't, it's okay not knowing what's going to come.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is managing your expectations. When I first started doing One Little Word, I guess now this is, I don't know, my 7th year. I don't remember. Anyway, I've been doing it for a while. That my expectation was that I would have everything laid out and I would know, and then I could plan for that. But I think just as a person who is becoming older and probably a little bit more wiser and maybe a little bit more mature, I've learned that I have to manage my expectations and that there's freedom that comes with not knowing. So I think for the benefit of our community, as you're starting this journey, if this is new or if you've been doing this for a while, it's just a reminder that it's okay not to know. There's some freedom that comes with that. And you might be pleasantly surprised at what comes out, or you might be slightly disappointed, or maybe a whole lot disappointed. But just manage your expectations going in, and be realistic and honor how you feel throughout the process, and know that it is a process, right?
Yeah.
It is and it's going to ebb and flow, and it's going to look great, and it's going to look not so great.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go in knowing it all. You don't have to know all the answers.
Well, and I think at the core of it too, and we've talked about this before as well, is that it's, so much of this is learning about yourself, right? Learning, uncovering yourself, learning about yourself, figuring out who you really are, without any other noise, right? Without the noise of other people and that's when I think about it myself. I'm just like, okay, what do I actually care about? What do I actually want in my life? Not what my parents said or what the societal expectations are, but really and truly, what do I actually care about? And I think that this is the project that helps me continue to uncover that, but it's inherently imperfect. And it's inherently filled with highs and lows because that's what's real, right? In all of our lives, and the ebb and the flow of the energy, also too. Yeah.
And I think that's what helps you get through the middle.
Yeah.
It is managing the expectations, as Victoria said, and also understanding that this is not meant to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what steals a lot of people's joy when they get to the middle of this project, and you catch yourself, and none of us are immune to this, but you catch yourself like, I really don't want to do that prompt, or oh God, now I got to show up and do this, but I'm not feeling it. But it's because there's some underlying expectation that you put on yourself to have to show up or be a certain way, or you're striving for perfection rather than the journey and the process of this. I know that for people who are new, one of the things that I have always said is don't get caught up in the stuff that we use as part of this project. And there's been a slight uproar as people, like, you understand, Lucretia, I have the binder and things and I want to use them. And I had to sit with that for them because they're ready to use the stuff. They're excited about using the stuff. And then there are people who don't have the stuff, or who choose, and people who actively will choose, as you'll see in the community, to use nothing. But there's one lady, she used none but a notebook. Yeah. And this woman will write stuff out. She will draw. That is her journey. It is her practice. And I love to see it because she's made a choice at the beginning. And I think what helps us all get through that middle is getting caught up in you and what this is doing for you versus getting caught up in the outside. Like Liz's analogy of the greenhouse could not be any more perfect for this project. It is, what do you allow in to the greenhouse, and what's toxic and that cannot come in, and you close the door. And that's how you can treat this project for yourself also, is what are you allowing in? And if it doesn't feel good, if it ain't a vibe, it can't come into your greenhouse. It's going to stop you from thriving. It's going to stop you from creating. It's going to stop you from saying yes. It's going to stop you from being wild. It's going to stop you from having the best adventure of your life. You get to make the decision. So how are you being the container for your word and for yourself as we sit up here? Did y'all like how I read?
That
all
was
our-
amazing.
That was
Together?
good. You came back. You came back. I
Yeah.
love that we are each different, and
Mhm.
that I could sit and talk about that damn greenhouse metaphor, for us.
You
24
got my
hours.
number? We can
I
do
mean,
this.
like, right, and right. And I need Victoria to be like, cool, let's get to work. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you already have built the greenhouse. Okay, let's
Yeah.
actually
The
do
greenhouse
this
exists.
big
Go.
thing.
Yeah.
And I need that, just like I need Azari to remind me, you could just take a photo and stop talking so much. And she's also going to say, talk all you want. I know. But if you watch each of us do this throughout the year and you're really curious just to see, we each are doing it differently. And the thing that stands out to me after listening to you all is this is a class. So you are getting the opportunity to be a student.
Mhm.
We all get to be students too, which is the fun part. We get to teach and be students. But there are no grades, and I'm not kidding. Like, there's no grading. You
Yes.
are internally grading, but that's on you.
Yep.
So the thing you get to do is practice.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
you get to listen to, when I kept taking notes throughout this, and Victoria, you said adventure doesn't feel forced.
Right.
And for some people, when they choose a word, it might feel like they have to force themselves. It doesn't mean it's the wrong word. Like, if I chose adventure as my next word, I would have to force myself to get out of the house a bit. But
Mm.
that's different than forcing myself into uncomfortable things just so I can have a cool project for the year, or whatever, right? I want to
Yeah.
listen to myself. And that
Mhm.
it's important that things don't feel forced. And this course gives you the opportunity to try new things.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
haven't picked up your camera in a while. You can do that with this. You haven't taken a self-portrait in a while. We want to see your face in this project that's all about you. You haven't done a lot of journaling in a while. This project gives you that opportunity, but you also get to turn every prompt on its head if you want to, because you aren't being graded and you are choosing your own adventure to some degree. I mean, you are completely choosing your own adventure,
Yes.
and we're here to give you like the bumpers.
We're inviting.
Yeah.
We
Right.
offer the invitation.
That's right,
Yes.
that's
This
right.
is the invitation, and then we come together and we talk about it and talk about how it worked and how it didn't work. And again, it's practice, just like you said. Yes, the practice of uncovering who we actually are. Yeah.
I love
Okay,
it.
I feel like that's a good place to end. That was great. Thank you guys so much. 2024. Ready, go.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you.